Ruben Vardanyan and Noubar Afeyan are two Armenians who for 20 years have supported over 700 initiatives across Armenia, Artsakh and the wider globe with the goal of ensuring sustainable development, creating prosperity and preserving cultural heritage. In the 2018 discussion paper, At the Crossroads, Ruben Vardanyan, Nune Alekyan and other colleagues set out a clear vision for Armenia. The authors present to the reader the outcomes of many years of discussion and debate conducted by people concerned about the fate of Armenians and Armenia. Along with other reports like one conducted by McKinsey, this research paper helped create a roadmap for the future. 2 decades later, and a slew of new projects are on the horizon.
Ինչ ուղղությամբ պետք է գնա Հայաստանն առաջիկա 15 տարիներին։ Այս հարցի վերաբերյալ Հայաստան 2020 ծրագրի կազմակերպիչները կարծես եկել են ընդհանուր հայտարարի։
I never participated before about this type of project. For me, it was very interesting experience, and immediately when I started this participation in this project, I realized this will be definitely an important part for Armenia because it's interesting. Despite I become much older and with more gray hair, I felt that nothing changed. What I told 20 years ago, it was key drivers of my activity. We want to stay Armenian not because of the parents or grandparents, but because we feel we want to be part of this Armenian nation by our own choice.
From smaller projects like restoring monuments and statues in Yerevan to much bigger, broader projects such as the large-scale Kama Business Center, these initiatives vary in focus. 20 years ago, the Armenia 2020 project kicked off, starting with the revival of Tatev, then came UWC Dilijan, the Aurora Humanitarian Initiative, and the FAST Foundation. As the ball got rolling, the Dilijan Development Plan, Gyumri Friendship Park, and other projects in Artsakh were announced. Then the focus moved to education, including the School Number 20 project and countless scholarships. When it comes to science and technology, apart from FAST, the Innovation District, the Dilijan Healthcare Hub, and an apprenticeship drive were all implemented. And even today, more projects are in the works, including the Future Armenian and the Global Armenian Impact Network. In this video, we'll break down these projects, sector by sector. Let's start with Tatev. The aim was to regenerate certain areas of Armenia with the potential of one day becoming international tourism hubs. Over the past decade, the Tatev Revival program brought together thousands of people in service of the rebirth of the 9th century Tatev monastery, the construction of the Wings of Tatev, which is the longest aerial tramway in the world, provided an out-of-the-box solution to make Tatev more accessible, attract significant inflow of tourists, generate new prospects for private funding, and to create a ripple effect for positive change. In the framework of the Tatev Revival program, different community development programs were initiated, such as hard and soft infrastructure improvements, as well as the development of local B&Bs, the organization of events and festivals for locals. The Tatev Gateway program seeks to turn Tatev into the touristic center of southern Armenia as a means to unlock the economic potential of this unique region.
When we started Tatev Monastery renovation project and we started Tatev cable car building, it was less than 1% people inside of our team who believed we can achieve something. And when we got 150,000 people came to use the Tatev cable car, everybody was shocked.
UWC Dilijan is one of the 18 world colleges and the only one in the post-Soviet space. The founders' aim was to bring the transformational power of education to young people from diverse geographies, cultures, and backgrounds.
I think again, if we prioritize education as the highest societal value in the future Armenian, not just the historic one, I think things will change.
Besides this, 80% of students receive full or partial scholarships. But UWC Dilijan scholarships aren't the only program. Scholarships have been granted to students at the American University of Armenia, as well as through the Young Aurora, Vartan Gregorian, Just Dilijanit Summer Camp, and ARGA scholarship programs. In Dilijan, the Dilijan Community Center provides youngsters with engaging education to inspire lifelong learning. And around the bend, the Matena International School of Leadership and Professional Development will be established, where students will receive a modernistic education to further their leadership and professional skills.
Started Matena project, which will be helping to improve the level of the project management skills for public sector and private sector, which is very important for both. And we believe without transformation of education system, you cannot achieve any significant changes.
To protect Armenia's cultural and religious heritage, funds were allocated to assist in the restoration of a number of sites of cultural importance, including the Odzun Monastery, the church in Parpi, as well as Armenian religious sites across the globe, such as the Armenian Church of St. Gregory the Illuminator in Singapore and St. Gevorg's Cathedral in Tbilisi. The new Armenian Moscow Cathedral complex too received significant support, and in Potsdam, Germany, assistance was provided towards the restoration of the Garrison Church, which 100 years ago provided help to the survivors of the Armenian genocide.
See a very important element to do project not only in Armenia but outside of Armenia, in Georgia, in Russia, in Europe, in America, in Asia, where we have our cultural heritage, which we need to save, and at the same time
in the northern city of Gyumri, support was provided to regenerate the Old Town district in the heart of the city, a tourism favorite. Funds were also directed to Gyumri Project Hope, a non-profit urban planning foundation focused on improving Gyumri in various sectors to curb or eliminate the city's depopulation crisis. Public events and festivals were also given backing, including the Sevbert Rock Festival and the Knowledge Exchange Hartak Festival. The Arnie Observatory is another planned project to create a modern observation deck so Armenians and tourists alike can view the ancient Armenian city of Ani, located on the Turkish side of the border. And we must mention the Gyumri Friendship Park, seeking to empower the local community. This large park will be equipped with playgrounds, sports areas, as well as a quiet zone, nature zone, amusement zone, and city zone. In Dilijan, apart from UWC, a number of other projects have been implemented or are in the works. The Dilijan development program aims to transform the town. Projects include cleaning up the riverbed, the construction of a new stadium, the zoning of the Riverside district, infrastructure renovations, restoring the city park, supporting guest houses, a rope park, and giving assistance to local businesses. With all these projects, Dilijan will be completely equipped for foreign and domestic travelers.
It's critical to do more projects in a community-based approach. And we also did a lot of surveys last year, and we found big difference between different community problems. We found the problems in the south of Armenia and north of Armenia quite different, and that's why we need to be more linked to today's lives of people. At the same time, keeping the project that we believe needs to be done in a long-term transformation.
In terms of Artsakh, the people of Artsakh have always been in consideration. Support has been given to establish a natural park to protect biodiversity. The church in Mushkapat was fully restored, and guest houses again were given aid in order to help create better tourism infrastructure. Backing was even given to a mass wedding event in Stepanakert, wherein 700 couples were married in one day, in what turned into a national celebration.
Aurora-ից վաղուց ենք ստեղ Արցախում եւ շատ ծրագիրներ ենք իրականացրել տարբեր։ Ուղղակի այս պատերազմից հետո մենք իսկապես նոր մոտեցումով ենք նայել եւ մենք տեսնում ենք շատ մեծ կարեւորություն է մարդասիրական մեր ծրագիրը միացնենք ամբողջ աշխարհի ծրագիրի հետ, միասին Արցախի այսօր իրավիճակը։
The Aurora Humanitarian Initiative seeks to address the on-the-ground humanitarian challenges around the world with a focus on helping the most destitute. The initiative was founded on behalf of the survivors of the Armenian genocide and in gratitude to their saviors, and strives to transform this experience into a global movement. Aurora is the vision of Noubar Afeyan, Ruben Vardanyan, and the late Vartan Gregorian, who have been joined by thousands of supporters and partners. Aurora's flagship program, the annual $1 million Aurora Prize for Awakening Humanity, is one of the fastest growing and most innovative humanitarian prizes in the world. Its mission is to recognize and support those who risk themselves to save the lives, health, or freedom of others. Through the Aurora for Artsakh program, the Aurora Humanitarian Initiative helps the people of Artsakh facing a grave humanitarian crisis in the aftermath of the 2020 Artsakh war. Since the launch of the humanitarian aid program for Artsakh, Aurora has already allocated $1.7 million to support 80 projects in Artsakh implemented by both local and international partners. And in line with the 100 Lives initiative launched by Aurora to commemorate the Armenian genocide, renowned composer and poet Marina Ales, chair of the Aurora Prize Creative Council, held a series of concerts in cities like Gyumri, Tbilisi, and St. Petersburg.
Aurora was really founded on the premise that there are people who are risking their lives to save thousands of others in the worst of humanitarian crises, and that their work really needs to get our full attention and support.
We are living in a world where people moving by role models, leading by example. It's critical for the young generation, critical for people who every day facing so many bad news and so many ignorance or apathy about what's going on in the world. This is why it's coming for us is very important, but this is all stories will collect it. And now we're finding uniqueness of this Aurora movement. It's also what we are bringing together to them, because they don't know about each other also.
When it comes to science and technology, to advance scientific discovery, drive innovation, and incentivize inventions to transform Armenia into a science-driven, innovative country by 2041, the Foundation for Armenian Science and Technology was initiated. In only a short space of time, FAST has produced 21 studies, 8 major reports, and has implemented 31 programs. These include a female entrepreneurship program, AI bootcamp, apprenticeships, a startup studio, research grant programs, and an agritech accelerator.
So instead, we thought, well, why don't we first think about what could Armenia become? And that notion has influenced how we think about what I'm about to describe to you very, very genuinely. And that is, when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a value creator, should you pick a destination where it is that you feel value exists, whether it's 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, or should you pick a direction?
And these are just a portion of the 700 projects that Ruben Vardanyan and Noubar Afeyan have supported. Though not all the project plans were realized, many lessons were learned and failures faced, such as the inability to attract human capital to implement a national park in Tatev. From the At the Crossroads discussion paper, wine companies, financial assistance for over 1,400 Syrian Armenian families displaced by war, and even artistic, cultural, and musical events, it will have to be seen what new projects will be embarked on next.
The basic concept which was developed together with Noubar Afeyan, with other our colleagues and friends, nothing changed. We continue to believe the key driver of transformation of 21st century society will be human person who will be very well educated, healthy, and needs to get the right ecosystem around him, what he will feel or she will feel secure, and also feel opportunity to create something and make the changes and to really work in a very competitive but also very attractive environment. We didn't have a government hundreds of years, and after 10 years surviving after the war and earthquake, really for our country, for the government, for the business elite, for professionals, it was very difficult to think about long term because he needs to survive every day, he needs to have electricity every day. But without thinking long term, I think it was very difficult to create something which will be fundamentally attractive for the young generations to stay in Armenia.